I don't think anybody could have foreseen that when we first published the 5 Megillas after the untimely passing of a friend of mine. It was just supposed to be 1 volume. And it was a work on the book of Esther, the Megillah. And there was such a reaction to it that the Gedolim of the time, of the previous generation, Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zatzal, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, Rabbi Ruderman, Rabbi Gifter, Zatzal, and Ibad L'chaim, Rav David Feinstein, Rav David Cohen, and others encouraged us to go ahead and continue this work because it is fulfilling a role of quenching the thirst of people for traditional, accurate, uneditorialized Torah literature. Goal is to write the kind of work that is structured in such a way that both the layman, the newcomer, and the scholar can each glean from it. A good example of that is our Chumash, which has nuggets of wisdom that the scholar relates to, and that the newcomer, who's perhaps visiting a shul for the first time since his own bar mitzvah, gains a new respect for Torah and understands that there's a tradition behind it, and that things are finally made accessible to him by removing the language barriers so he can study it the way his grandfather studied it. That's a very good question. You really realize that most, the further away that you travel, you see the impact it's made on a broad group of people throughout the world who, for the first time, understand what they're davening. We helped, Baruch Hashem, our exemplary world-class staff of scholars helped remove the language barrier and allowed a lot of people to have access to Sfarim that they never had access to before, and enhance their learning in Jewish awareness and Jewish continuity in many, many ways. And it's one of the few things that has really gone across the spectrum. In fact, this was Mr. Jerome Schottenstein's original concept, that he wanted to be involved with various projects that don't serve just one segment of the community, but tend to unify and address every segment of the community and coalesces them together under the banner of Torah education. The motto of Masorah Heritage Foundation is, "The written word is forever." And indeed, that's the case. There's very few things that one could do today that will still be here and vibrant and in libraries in 300, 400, 500 years from now. And it's not limited to any geographic entity. It's not limited to any time entity. Books are truly timeless and affect eternity in different ways. When you plant an oak tree, it takes many, many years to watch it sprout, and other type of trees to yield fruit. The big plus that we have on the nachas side and on the gratification side is it's almost instant gratification. Thank God there was a period of time that for many years we published volumes of the Talmud at an incredible rate of 1 volume every 9 weeks. So when we predicted that all 73 volumes of the English Talmud and all 73 volumes of the Hebrew Talmud, and now the Midrash and Yerushalmi and the various other projects that we're doing, has the kind of pace that one could see the fruit almost immediately and watch the impact it's making on people. It's exhilarating to listen to people describe how the various books we've been publishing over the last 36 years have impacted on the daily life, whether it's by enhancing their prayer, enhancing their knowledge of Jewish history, their knowledge of the laws and practices, knowledge of Talmud, knowledge of Midrash, knowledge of Torah, knowledge of Mishnah. Perhaps one of the most warming things is to go to Eretz Yisrael, visit people of the stature of Rav Elyashiv or Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Rav Aaron Leib Steinman, who are well into their 90s. Rabbi Elyashiv is over 101, may live to 120. and beyond, and to see them studying from our various editions of the Talmud, in Hebrew, of course. And you know you've done it right when they feel it's an important contribution. I mean, it's quite obvious that people who are not able to study this before, and this makes it accessible to them, that itself is exhilarating. People at the forthcoming Siyum Hashas that's going to be next August, people who are running it saying that the whole concept of being able to get a group, or to aim to get a group of 90,000 people together with a focus on Daf Yomi study was only possible because of the various editions that we've made accessible. It was just unthinkable years ago to even address a group of 90,000 people for the purpose. So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is when you see the leaders of the generation using the same volume that the layman is using. It means that, thank God, our staff is exemplary, and this proves it. The people I have a privilege to work with, whether it be my associates here or the staff of Talmidei Chachamim who are doing these projects both here and in Israel and in other places throughout the world, are really the greatest group one could possibly assemble. They're world-class scholars of the highest caliber. Many of them have been with us 30 years or more. Their devotion and their loyalty is absolutely incredible, and the way they're able to focus. I think the greatest tribute to them is the respect one shows another. Even if one's colleague did an initial translation that the editor did not feel was up to par, he would never go back to him and reprimand him or show him errors in any type of a cynical way. He would simply rewrite it, fix what has to be fixed. And sometimes a book is finished and the original translator would write, this is so great, I can't believe I wrote this myself. And in many cases, he didn't. Again, I really think that that's a special gift from Hashem, that this success was so broad and so universal almost from day one. And again, I think it's a tribute to the staff of scholars and the kind of covered honor, respect they give one another. And when so many people push in the same direction with such love for one another, they're bound to produce something that's going to be well accepted. One goal everyone who's working on every one of the projects has is a passion for excellence. They can spend days sometimes on trying to pick just that right word that will try to encompass what the Talmud or the Medrash or any of the other volumes are trying to teach us in a way that's multi-nuanced. If you don't do that, all you're doing is taking a phrase from one language into the other and preserving the ambiguity. Here, the precision is the goal.